Who will be the final Straw Hat? It was revealed in One Piece magazine that there's probably just one crew member left. So, fans have been wondering who that member will be. There's plenty of candidates like Tama, Momo, and Smoker, but realistically it only comes down to 2 characters. Carrot, the more likely pick who's been with the Straw Hats for a while now, and Yamato, the fan favorite pick who could fill the spot even though we just met him. That's why in this discussion, I'm going to present the best argument for each pick and decide who the next Straw Hat will be. If you didn't already notice, this video does contain spoilers for anime only fans. Before I get started, make sure to comment with your thoughts on the next Straw Hat. I'll pick my favorite and share it as comment of the week in the next video. Here's this week's comment about Kaido's speed. If you'd like more One Piece and Dr. Stone discussions like this one, then make sure to subscribe and follow along with each week's video. With that out of the way, let's start with our criteria. There's no one rule for who becomes a Straw Hat, but if you look at who has joined, there's 5 factors that tell us when a character will likely join the crew. First, every member needs a flashback. This contextualizes the character, helping us understand who they are by showing us where they're coming from. The one exception is Robin, but in that case, Oda was hiding her past on purpose, and we even got her flashback later on. Second, each member needs a personal dream or goal. And I say personal because it has to be unique to them. Like flashbacks, the dream helps us understand the character by showing us where they're headed and what motivates them. Third, Luffy needs to impact the character. Basically, he needs to inspire the character so much that they feel a need to join him on his journey. And while this one isn't so clear with each member, it's still important because it shows us that the character is making a conscious decision to join Luffy because of the way he impacted them. Next, every member needs an actionable role. And I say actionable because it has to be something that the character can actually contribute to the crew besides just fighting. For example, Usopp isn't just a Straw Hat because he's a god. It's because he's the sniper of the group. Whether it be a little girl, fleeing enemies, or even worse, a flag, Usopp contributes to the crew by dealing with enemies from long range. It's something unique that he has a special talent for. Finally, the character can't have any loose ends. Pretty straightforward. Like Jinbei or Vivi, if the character still has unfinished business, then they'll decide not to join the Straw Hats. And that's it. If a character hits all those points, then odds are they're joining the crew. Let me know in the comments what you think of this criteria, cause obviously I'm not Oda and all I can do is try my best not to completely talk out of my butt. To start, let's look at the fan favorite pick, Yamato. First, does Yamato have a flashback that contextualizes his character? Well, that's a pretty clear check. Granted, it's all over the place, but at this point we know a fair deal about Yamato. He grew up stuck on Onigashima and was inspired by Oden's resolve. With that context, we understand that Yamato, like Oden, has always felt stuck because of what Kaido did to him. Next, does Yamato have a personal dream or goal that helps us understand his motivations? Well, technically yes. Yamato has made it painfully clear that he wants to be like Oden, hence the world's most uncomfy father-son reunion. But it's unclear how this dream might transform as Wano goes on. For example, assuming he survives, what would Yamato's dream be after opening Wano? If we consider this in favor of Yamato joining, the best argument would be something like seeing Luffy reach Laugh Tale, which would normally be pretty generic, but considering how Oden is tied to the poneglyphs and their puzzle, this would fall in line with Yamato wanting to live like Oden. So for now, we'll say Yamato has a personal dream. Next, has Luffy impacted Yamato? That would be a big checkaroonie. Yamato was clearly inspired by Luffy's words when he heard them from Ace, and like the other Straw Hats, seems pretty sold on the idea that Luffy will be the Pirate King. So, because Yamato is so invested in all this Pirate King lore and seems to think there's something special about Luffy, it's safe to assume he'll feel a strong desire to follow Luffy on his journey. Whether he feels an actual need to do so is still on the table, but it's not a far reach from where he is now. Next, does Yamato have an actionable role? Unfortunately, we can't give this one a checkaroonie. Yamato is clearly a capable fighter, but unlike the other Straw Hats, it's unclear if there is an actionable role that he has a special talent for. One might argue that Yamato can contribute his knowledge of Oden's journal, but the Straw Hats already have Robin to read the poneglyphs, so relaying Oden's story doesn't make much of a contribution to the crew. especially when you consider how Luffy doesn't want to be told where to find Laugh Tale. So unlike the current members, it's unclear if there's anything special Yamato can actually contribute. Finally, will Yamato have any loose ends? For now, we can give this one a check. There's a possibility that Yamato might need to stay behind to help rebuild Wano, but it's not clear that Wano would specifically need Yamato for this kind of job. So having gone through the list, the only thing missing for Yamato is an actionable role. Like Robin and Alabasta, we could get this towards the very end of Wano. Maybe we find out that Yamato is secretly a really good dancer and can put together some killer choreography. Who knows? But now let's look at our next pick, the one I just so happen to be rooting for, Carrot. Does she have a flashback? Check. We got the flashback in Whole Cake where we learn how Pedro took her on as his student, which helps us understand why she respects Pedro so much. Does she have a personal goal? Well, like Yamato, this area is a bit ambiguous. Carrot stated early on how she wanted to go out to sea, but there's nothing unique about that. It's not until Pedro's death that we get some idea of what it might be. Since Pedro had a dream to help bring about the dawn of the new age, it seems like Carrot inherited this dream when he died and made it her mission to see it through. This dream about the new dawn falls in line with our criteria since it's personal to Carrot, rather than something much broader like wanting to help Luffy. So for now, we'll check this one off. Next, has Luffy impacted Carrot? Checkaroony. Carrot made it clear that she was inspired by Luffy when she tried to ask if she could join the crew back in Zou. She even points out how Luffy is special because of his ability to bring people together. So in this moment, we see Carrot making a conscious decision to join Luffy, which is only reinforced when she goes out of her way to sneak on board later on. Next, does Carrot have an actionable role? Big checkaroony for this one. We've seen Carrot act as the ship's lookout time and time again. Her heightened vision and hearing help her spot things on the horizon that the other members might not notice, and her ability to jump to high points lets her reach her post right away. Finally, will Carrot have any loose ends? Pretty big no for this one. I mean, let's be honest, Carrot doesn't exactly have a lot going on, so she should be all set to go after Wano. There is an interesting theory going around that Carrot could help govern Zou after Wano, but we can't really rely on this at the moment since it's almost entirely speculation. So it seems like Carrot checks off on every point on the list. Which brings us to our final decision. And I hate to disappoint Yamato fans, well, not really because Carrot is obviously best girl, but it looks like the odds are in Carrot's favor based on our criteria. Clearly, Carrot beats Yamato in the actionable role category. Carrot acts as the lookout and can relay information to the crew. Yamato, well, like we talked about, it's unclear what his role would be beyond serving as another fighter. Plus, if we look at their dreams, it actually seems like Carrot has the edge in this one too. At least right now, Carrot's dream is much easier to discern. In theory, she would join Luffy because she inherited Pedro's dream to help bring about the new dawn. Meanwhile, it's much less clear what Yamato's dream will be, assuming the Straw Hats open Wano. With his connection to Odin, it's a fair argument to claim he would join in order to help solve the mystery behind the poneglyphs, but this is much more speculative than Carrot's dream. It's possible, but we just don't have enough information yet to support a theory like that. So until we get more information, Yamato just does not fit the precedent for joining the crew. Meanwhile, as we've explored, Carrot clearly does. That's why, although they're both strong candidates, it looks like Carrot will be the next Straw Hat. And that's it for this discussion. Make sure to share your thoughts on the next crew member. If you enjoyed this discussion, then make sure to like the video. If you'd like more discussions like this one, then make sure to subscribe and follow along with weekly One Piece and Dr. Stone videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.